What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Magic Market Watch video for the last week of July. As always, if you enjoy these or any videos I create, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. We are getting closer and closer to 40,000 subs. I don't know how I feel about the market so far because when we look at gainers, we might have a couple that are worth really talking about, but most of them are $2, $3 cards that are going up by 50 cents. It's not something that I really feel is a good situation right now. There's a lot more going down, very little going up. And we're going to start off with something that I think is becoming a problem for TCGPlayer.com and also MTGstocks.com, which is where I get all of these charts. So if you want to follow along with the Market Watch, you can go on MTGstocks.com. The link will be in the description below. What we have here is Victimize, and it's the Victimize from Commander Anthology. There's nothing really unique about this printing, and Victimize is not a hard card to find at all. It's been reprinted a ton of times, but it has a market value currently of $3.64. When I started the series and I used to see things like this, my first reaction was this has to be a problem with MTG Stocks, because they're not flagging this down as suspicious or even just an error on TCGPlayer.com, which is where they get all of this information from. TCGPlayer is a large website, a large marketplace, one of the most commonly used sites for people who just want to buy singles. And the problem when you go over on TCGPlayer.com and you click on most recent sales of this card, of one-at-a-time purchases at $3.92, which it's not impossible for one person to go and buy all the $3.92 possible listings. It's just incredibly unlikely. So this has to be an error on TCGPlayer's side. I don't know what they could do to remedy this, because when you look at the rest of the listings for this specific printing, Commander Anthology Victimize, it's something you can easily find under $1. We have a similar problem here with Spring Bloom Druid. These were the gainers for the week, folks, and they're both suffering from the same issue. You could see the market price at $3.53 going vertical up. That's not something you typically see out of a common, and we look at the most recent sales, you see $3.99, $3.99, $3.99, $3.99, but people are just buying these one at a time. Again, I don't want to say it's impossible, this might be someone's weird strategy, but you would also have to find that many listings where they're at $3.99, which I just don't think is that common, that you'd be able to buy how many, 10, 12 of these at $3.99? And you can also see where someone bought 75 of these at 38 cents. What I really hope didn't happen was that someone saw this go up to a market price of like $3 or $4, and they thought to themselves, I better load up and cash in on it while it's at 38 cents here. I really hope that didn't happen. I mean, it's not a ton of money to lose, but it's still disappointing if someone fell for that. What we do have is an actual gainer here, Fury Storm. This is a great card. I think it's still only printed in Commander 2018, getting a market value closer to 10 again. Last year, close to this time, it also got above $10, so I think that's a really good sign. It's a good combo card too if you like Spellslinger, but you like the Spellslinger strategies where you can abuse copy triggers. This is for you because you can easily go infinite. And unlike with the other ones, you look at the latest sales over on TCGPlayer.com, they look pretty organic, and it seems to be lightly played. You might get a deal, but near mint, if you want near mint, you're gonna have to pay above 10. And this is what really influences the market price. It's what people are willing to pay. So that's why I think TCGPlayer, someone needs to do something about that. Probably contact MTGstocks.com, get on the same page, because you know we pay attention to these weekly market values. Another gainer is Seed Time from Judgement, probably the only real significant gainer outside of Fury Storm, and it's a pretty good one that I don't think I've ever seen before. You play it only during your turn, and you take an extra turn after this one if an opponent played a blue spell this turn. This could even be competitive playable. It is crazy enough to be that kind of card at only 2 mana instant speed. It's not banned, so you can have a lot of fun taking an extra turn in green, where in green you don't typically have access to doing that. It's shooting up well above $10, and it hasn't been worthless. It hasn't been one of those obscure cards that no one's ever paid attention to, because as you can see, for the past couple years it's been gaining ground. I like it though. I think it has really good potential, because when's the next time you think they're going to be printing something like this? Now we talk about the losers for the week. We have Master of the Wild Hunt. This card benefited big time from the wolf speculation going into Midnight Hunt. As you can see, right around when that set came out, it started to go up, and it's been creeping back down ever since. Not an awful card, it's just we are more focused on werewolves in Commander. Whatever wolf synergies we have are kind of tacked on to that, so it wasn't really given a strong opportunity. We have another card going down in Days Undoing. Holy cow, I didn't even realize it went up to $30, because I know people were desperate to find some budget alternative for Time Twister, but this doesn't even really come close. If you have to end your turn, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of wanting to do something like this to begin with. What really sucks about this card is that you didn't even want to take advantage of something like Nekasar, because since it just ends the turn, you don't even get those triggers off. So I mean, while it is one of the cheapest cards to do something like this, it just isn't worth it. It's not really even worth it outside of Commander, and I think you're starting to see the price reflect that. It did get a reprinting, I think, in the list, so that could be a reason why it went back down. But nothing to really write home about. It's more of a mirage than anything else. A lot of people wanting it to be a better card. We have Orb of Dragonkind, which saw a bit of an increase because of Miram, and a lot of cards from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms saw an increase because of that commander. Very specific to dragons though, you have any kind of advantage card that specifically helps out one tribe over any other ones, and it's going to be very niche. It'll go up and down depending on the current popularity of that tribe. And it's been some time since Battle for Baldur's Gate released, and people are getting used to these strategies, maybe even getting a little fatigued. So I could see the interest start to dwindle for this card, especially compared to a lot of other support cards for dragons. It's not a bad card, but it's not going to blow anybody away. And we have the obligatory Double Masters 2022 discussion. While these aren't massive losers, they are still going down. Imperial Seal is the chase card for the set. We've been talking about this almost every Magic Market watch for the past month and a half, and for a good reason. It has a massive impact on that set's value. If your chase card keeps going down like this, it's going to affect the long-term value for this Master set. And I think Wizards, they need to be concerned with that, because so many people probably thought that this was going to be worth well over 120. And that's where we see the market value. Last week it was at 150. It keeps dropping. I was convinced it would settle somewhere under 200. It could very well settle under 100. And to use a better example, we have another card in the same exact set, Warrior's Oath. It's another Portal 3 Kingdoms reprint. The only difference is that Warrior's Oath doesn't really see play. It's one of those gimmick cards that if you can really fool around with it, exchange control of the spell with your opponent, then it could be good. You could force an opponent to lose the game. But because it was only really expensive originally because it came from Portal 3 Kingdoms, you probably had some people who were thinking, this is going to be a big money card in the set, just like Imperial Seal. Maybe not that expensive because it just doesn't see play, but it's got to be worth something, right? Well, as you can see, it's down to $16. As far as playability goes, I think reprinting cards from Portal 3 Kingdoms is great, because you know they're going to be dirt cheap compared to the original print that has an insane premium. And the last card to talk about from Double Masters 2022 is another one that has lost quite a bit, but that was to be expected. It's the first time really getting a reprint in an actual set. It was on the list before, but this was a card that was, getting close to $40 in its original print. Now being around $6 and probably going to fall, you start to see the real value of this card. Some cards just have a premium because they're hard to find, like in Portal 3 Kingdoms. Those cards are really hard to find. Most of them aren't that good, but they'll be worth like $200 because you can't really find them easily in good condition. The same thing was kind of true with Thrumming Stone. Because it came from Cold Snap, and for a long time it didn't have a reprint, it was harder and harder to find, even though it was only really useful for those strategies where you're taking advantage of creatures like Shadowborn Apostle. Not too many decks are made like that. So Thrumming Stone holding a $40 value for as long as it did was pretty impressive. But now we see that it's actually worth $6 for what it does, which I still think it's a fun card. If they ever release more of those kinds of creatures where you can play as many of them as you want in your commander decks, I think the value of this card could potentially go back up. But I don't think it'll ever be a $40 card again. So anyway, that's going to do it for the Magic Market Watch for the final week of July. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about that TCGPlayer.com possible error, although it could be some jokester trying to manipulate the market, but I'm leaning closer to it being an error on TCGPlayer's side. It seems to be a common occurrence. I don't know what they could do to remedy that situation, because it doesn't just impact MTGstocks.com giving good information, correct information. It impacts everyone who uses that site to make certain financial decisions. And if someone is dead set on trying to cash in on something like that, they're going to be making a big mistake. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Commander Void here. I will see you all next time.